Yo, what's up, y'all? We out here. I'm moving a little bit slow, as you can hear the wind, and I'm walking on a bunch of ice. And not too far to my left hand and to my right hand are a nice cold plunge that I have zero interest in plunging into. But you know, it's another cool and beautiful Michigan Sabbath, as you can see. With no sun, even though I would very muchly appreciate the sun right now. And actually, the reason for this video today has to do with my devotions this morning and the mention of the sun. So, I was reading through Steps to Christ. Great book. One of my favorites for sure. I try to read through it every year, and I never succeed, but it doesn't stop me from trying. And there was this quote that I came upon. Right now, my thing is reading through the book backwards, so I think I'm in chapter 10, whichever chapter is the one on prayer and the power of prayer. Look at this. It's just frozen water up here because it's that cold. It's crazy. Oh, man. But the quote was something along the lines of saying, we may keep so near to God that in every unexpected trial, our thoughts will turn to Him as naturally as the flower turns to the sun. And this quote hit me for a number of reasons. But immediately, my thought process was this contrast between the unexpected and expected. And my mind is already kind of keyed into the word unexpected because of gymnastics and that being our theme for the year. So seeing that, I'm already thinking of the comparison and the contrast. I'm not going to go on the front side of this because I'm not going to take this chance. Look at this. It's just built up. You got the actual lighthouse right here. And you gotta be more daring than I'm feeling right now in this cold. So I'm gonna keep it chill right here. You have this concept of an unexpected trial in comparison to almost what you would call default behavior of a flower, right? In turning to a sun. It's natural. What are the things that come natural to us when we think of trials and the things that we face? Is it our default behavior to turn to God, or is it our default behavior to turn in a different direction, to something else, to some person or some kind of vice or whatever it might be? That's the question. That's the question. And the question is, let's take a look. It's kind of frosty. There is a bar here. I'm gonna hold on tight to this, gloves and all, because I'm not trying to end up down there. No, sir. But I will say, standing right here, you hear that? It's quiet. I've avoided the wind. So I might have to chill here for a little bit, let my hands warm up. But this is an important question, right? Think about the different aspects of your life and think of the habits that are formed in those different areas of your life. When you go to the gym, do you have a warm-up routine? Do you have something that you do to prep yourself before putting the work in on the weights? If you're working chest, what's your routine? What's your habit? If you're doing legs, what's the routine? What's the habit? When you wake up in the morning, if you wake up in the morning, is the time that you wake up in the morning, is that a habit? Is that a routine? What are the things that you do naturally? You know, there are so many things that we do naturally in life. I don't know what the stats are. I should probably check it out. But there are so many things that we do naturally as a habit that we don't even think about. But when it comes to something that might be the most important thing for us, turning to God and leaning on Him in the unexpected moments, it's the furthest thing from our minds. Now, I'm not going to lie. For me, being up here at Andrews, finding a consistency spiritually has been a bit difficult. And most of the reason for that is because as a student in the seminary, and my fellow seminary students can attest to this as well, we fool ourselves into thinking that because we're studying spiritual things, that it can substitute for the personal spiritual devotion that we each are in need of. But it doesn't. And so when the assignments are done, when the work is complete, and when the grades are returned, yeah, we have the good grades and we can say that we put in all that hard work. But those assignments didn't substitute for the personal thing that we need so much. The habit is gone. But the thing is, we have the opportunity to do something very intentional. I think that we have to, because the things that we end up doing by nature are the things that we've done so much that it becomes a reflex. And it sets us up so in the unexpected moments of life, the very things that we've expected to do and have done with consistency, the habits that we've made, the reflexes that we've built, they end up coming to our defense in those moments. I got to give a shout out to Eric, one of my fellow gymnics. He has a reflex that anytime a move looks like it's going sideways, it doesn't matter where he is in the gym, he's there. He's there to help and to catch. And he's got that awareness. His reflex is one of this awareness that comes to the aid of a move that is not looking good. And whether he's actually there to make the save or not doesn't matter. His reflex is one of help and aid. He's done it so much, he's been there so many times that this is his natural reflex, and he doesn't even have to think about it to do it. And like I said, he could be way on the other side of the mat and not even have a real chance of making it to the move, but because his reflex, because he's been there so many times, it doesn't matter. He's going to make that attempt to do that anyway. Oof, breezy out here. So I guess it all comes down to the question, what habits are you building? What is it your natural reflex to do when you stub your toe? As a famous one ends up exposing a lot of us for cursing, right? When you lose in a match, are you able to lose with grace? Or are you upset if a conversation isn't going well? Do you put the blame on somebody else? Or do you reflect? You know, there's so many different ways, little ways, but important ways that we can refine our habits and our natural reflex. And especially in the spiritual sense, it's that much more important. The reality is, for the different unexpected and not so great situations we might find ourselves in, we end up leaning to other things, and we end up using God as a last resort. I can't tell you how many times in my own experience I've thought that I had no options, and my last thought was, well, I guess I'll go to God with that, when maybe it should have been my natural reflex. And of course, that kind of betrays the fact that it wasn't, but it's also an indicator that maybe what I'm doing isn't putting myself in the best position to have a natural reflex towards God. You know, it also begs the question, what are we doing in our experiences as Christians that makes us think of God as a last resort and a last option, instead of it being our natural reflex? That's something that struck me, that I need to think of in my own experience. All right, I'm gonna move a little bit faster now because my hands are getting cold. So I'm gonna be careful at the same time. I'm not trying to have any unexpected accidents, you know. Almost fell there. Shoelace is getting tied up. It isn't always easy building new habits, but it's the thing that we need to do, especially as Christians, if we want to have the best chance of success, and if we want to be able to have a reflex of turning to God in the moments when we actually do need Him the most. So my encouragement to you all is that you take those little steps. It's not going to be a big thing. It never happens in a day. You think of school and what it means to study a topic and to get good in math or accounting or nursing or physical therapy, music. It's little steps done over time, consistently, that put you in a position to have a natural reflex towards that thing. And we can accomplish the same thing in our spiritual lives too. With that, thanks for tuning in. We out here, and we out. I'm definitely out because I'm cold. See you in the next one, all right?